Hey, hello, fellow human beings. I think that takes into account everyone that might be tuning into this. Um it's October 11th, 2022. It's actually a Tuesday here, and it's about 2:30 in the afternoon. What a beautiful day. Look at this. I'm going to show you. Man, oh man. There's the airport. There's a small Cessna about to take off. But look at this. Look at this piece of land. It's really something. Land, especially if you're Irish, land can be so beautiful. Beautiful. Um, I mentioned a little while ago I was going to talk about my aerial photography career, and I'm going to give you the abridged version. Uh, I came out of college having no idea what I was going to do. Another wonderful moment, and just started working somewhere, a nonprofit. Do not work for a nonprofit organization unless you're in the top echelon, because you'll starve the rest of your life and struggle financially the rest of your life. And I made that mistake 3 times. Couldn't find another job though, so I had to take what was available. The last one anyway. The first two, or whenever, I didn't plan things out too well financially. But I wanted to be creative, and I wanted to get human drama, and my camera was the medium for that journey. Was the vehicle for that journey. Um, Wanted to learn how to fly. When I went on a flying lesson, I took my camera with me and took some pictures. When I got back on the ground, I sold the pictures to pay for more training. But I was surprised at how simple it was, and how high the sale rate would be, the close rate would be. It was really good. You had to know. I found out quickly. You had to know what you were taking a picture of, because if you take half a picture of something and then included in that picture is a half of something else that doesn't mean anything to your eventual customer, then you're not going to sell the picture. All right. So anyway, aerial photography. Late 70s, early 80s. I'm chasing ambulances and trying to scrape out a living. Do not be a photographer. Okay. It is a bad choice for a career. I don't care how much you like it. In the end, especially like when I got divorced and suddenly overnight my expenses tripled. I had, a lot of expenses. My expenses increased. Living by yourself, your expenses are going to go up. I was living with my wife, and between the two of us, we were able to manage. But after 10 years of marriage, suddenly she wanted out, and my life was turned upside down. But in a good way, because I was holding on. I don't give up on things so easy. There goes a Cessna, by the way, in case you're wondering. I can wave to him for you. Um, Sooner or later, the bad career choice, or the poorly advised career choice, is going to catch up to you, and it did to me. After the divorce, my expenses tripled. Even before the divorce, I had to do all kinds of like part-time jobs just to make ends meet. And I have a good friend that lives close by, and we both worked at UPS for a while, back-breaking job from 3 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock in the morning, no breaks, 5 hours a day, $10 an hour. But the thing is, they picked up medical insurance for you and your whole family on a part-time job, and so everybody working there had their own business because they couldn't afford the medical insurance. Still can't, from what I understand. It's still a problem. But there goes a helicopter. Haven't seen too many of those around here. Anyway, you can tell by the sound too, right? If you get the sound. So I'm working at UPS, but through this whole time, I'm continuing to fly. I got my license, actually my regular pilot's license, in 1989. But I shot aerials all through the 80s. I had to get a pilot to fly me, but my business picked up. What the hell is that? Jesus. God almighty. One thing about land with all this grass, man, there's bugs. This is like a safe haven for bugs. I don't know what the hell that was. Okay, window goes up. The window goes up. Sorry for the interruption. Anyway, so, God, now it's getting hot in here. I turned the air conditioning on. All right, so, 89, I get my license. I had a couple of corporate accounts. I had one huge corporate opportunity that fell through and really did a number on me. And it was not aerials, it was architectural stuff. I won't go into that. Just a big hole and fall through in the career trajectory. So 93, I get a divorce, and I'm struggling to figure out what I'm going to do. It was actually a good year, though, even though it was personally a depressing year. 93, 94, 95, 96, I'm divorced. 97, I get lucky and I get a break on a lead for a telemarketing job at Bell Atlantic. I think I talked about this in another video. And that became my bread and butter. And I still flew and I still did aerial photography, but on my own terms. I mean, it wasn't, aerial photography ended up not being my mainstay, but I love to fly, so I kept flying. And while I was flying, I thought, what the heck, I'll bring my camera with me. So there was a shopping mall that was undergoing a major upgrade close to where I lived, and I noticed some construction trailers there. This is like good old 1999. What a year! What a year! It was tell me if this sounds familiar. It was the best of years, and it was the worst of years. It was both. It was both. It was my best money-making year of my life. I think I went over 90 G's at Bell that year, because it was, well, Bell Atlantic was, they absorbed, all of us into the company, and then the money went, all you had to do was work at it. Some people didn't want to work at it, and all they would do is complain. So I guess there's a segment of the human race, that's just what they do. So I'm 1999, right? I'm making great money, but I see this local shopping mall with construction trailers, because I did a lot of construction photography, 70s and 80s. And I noticed the construction trailers and stuff, and they started moving, and heavy equipment started showing up. So I thought, I'll take some aerials, print up 4 8x10s, one from each point of the compass, do a nice professional presentation, give it to them. I didn't like giving things away when I was struggling, but I'm not struggling at that point in my life. So I did 4 8x10s, looking from each different direction, and I called it the Exton Mall. A really nice label in the lower right-hand part of the picture. Didn't obstruct anything, but it gave you the date and the view and the target, the Exton Mall. So I dropped them off at the construction trailer to the CM, and I said, hey, if you can share these with the company, I'll get a freebie for you. And he goes, yeah, okay. And he took the pictures, didn't want to talk to me. I left, and I thought, oh, that's the last time I'll ever hear from that guy. 3 weeks later, I'm going to say, let's see, this could have been late 98, early 99. I got a phone call from a lady by the name of Martha Minogue in Akron, Ohio. Worked for the Lathrop Construction Company, LATHROP, who at that time I didn't know, but they were bought out by Turner Construction. I think they're the biggest construction company in our country. So she calls me, and I answer the phone. And I said, hey, hello. And she goes, well, I was looking for Jerome B. Now, I'm Jerome Byrne, that's my name. And I said, this is he, how can I help you? She goes, well, my name is Martha Minogue, and I work for the Lathrop Construction Company. We're located in Akron, Ohio. And we got your pictures of the Exton Mall. And I like them. The CEO liked them. And then she said, most importantly and impressively, the customer was crazy about them, liked them that much. And so we want you to start shooting that target once a month, ongoing, and it's probably going to be a while before we're done. So we'd like you to start right away. And I was thinking, wow, that's nice. And she wanted to know how much, and I said $600 a month. That includes everything. It's like 12 8x10s. And she said, okay, that's good. I can tell you right now, we'd like you to start, and we got the whole thing set up. And so it worked out really good because I was doing so good at Bell. I was in sales, and I was doing so good that I told my boss, I'm going to be taking a half a day once a month to do something I have to take care of in my personal life. And he said, fine, I don't care. I don't care if I never see you, as long as you keep getting your number and exceeding your number like you have been. I said, great. So on a nice day, like today, right, I'd tell him, and he'd say, okay, goodbye, and I'd go out to the airport. And by this time, it was 10 years after I got my license. By this time, the airport and I had a great working relationship. I just show up, get in a Cessna 152 and go shoot. And so it went well. I was getting some flying time, some extra money in my pocket. Later in '99, she calls me, and we didn't talk all that much. But she calls me and she says, hi Jerry, this is Martha. I said, oh, is something wrong? She goes, oh, no, everything's fine. She says, matter of fact, I got to talk to you about some more work that we want you to do. And I said, okay, well, what are we talking about? And she goes, well, some other customers have seen your pictures, and now we realize that they all want those pictures on their projects. I was like, I like the way this is going. And then she said, so we made a decision. We're going to do this on all of our projects, and we want you to shoot it. And I said, all of your projects? And she goes, yeah. And I said, you want them all shot once a month? And she said, that's right. I said, how many are we talking about? And she said, well, when it's slow, anywhere from 25 to 30 projects a month. She goes, and when it's busy like it is now, anywhere between 40 and 60 projects a month. And I said, all over the country? She goes, yeah. And I said, wow, that's a lot, Martha. I mean, you understand this is full-time. This is not a part-time thing. This is more than full-time. If I'm running the show here, I'm looking at anywhere from 60 to 80 hours a week, and traveling, all kinds of expenses for traveling, room and board and stuff like that. She goes, yeah, we already know that. We've discussed that. I said, oh, okay. And she goes, can you give me an estimate of how much it would cost? And I said, well, not knowing. I can only tell you about my time. I can't even venture a guess at the expenses, although I could tell you that the beginning point for the expenses is the same as what I'm going to be requiring just for me. She goes, well, how much is it just for you? I said, per year, it's going to be $250,000. And I want a minimum of a 5-year deal. Otherwise, it's just not worth it for me to do it. And she goes, okay, and you're stuck on those numbers. I said, absolutely, and the expenses could easily more than double that. Could go to 3, because they're all the traveling. I'm going to have to hire people. I mean, there's no way I can do 60. Think about it. There's only 30 days in a month. 60 targets all over the country. That's not going to get done in a month. And plus, I am completely committed with my time. All of my time goes towards this job. Now, I only spent a little bit of time with my kids when they were growing up, because in terms of the divorce, they live with their mother, and I saw them every other weekend. And now that's going to go away too. What an opportunity, though. Isn't that great? That was the best one, the best money-making opportunity that I had. So, what I did was I threw a number at her that I thought was going to just wreck the deal, and it's not going to go. I told her 250 grand. She says, okay, let me talk to the CEO about it. And I said, but make sure you understand, that's less than half of what's going to cost you over 12 months. I'm guessing anywhere between, $525,000, $550,000 to $600,000 for me and the rest and the expenses. She goes, okay, yeah, we understand that. And so she says, okay, I'm going to get the CEO. Now, if we get back to you, we're going to want to get started on this pretty quick. And we get back to you and these terms are okay, are you going to be able to start? Well, I had this incredible gig going on at Bell Atlantic, but I told her probably. I said, we'll see. She goes, okay. And we hang up the phone, and I knew immediately I wasn't going to do it. I mean, my kids, I never saw them growing up. That's not true. I did see them. And we had good times together every other weekend, but not day in and day out. Are you a parent? Are you a father if you don't see your kids day in and day out? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You don't believe me? Take a look at my wallet and my bank account. That's okay. I don't mind any of that. If you got your health, you got everything. So anyway, I knew right away I wasn't going to do it. I was hoping she'd call me back and say it was too much for them. They would look into other ways of getting it done. She calls me back later that day, the same day. She says, "Okay, we're good to go. We're good to go." And I was like, "Wait a minute." And I told her immediately. I said, "Martha, I've been thinking about it, but I can't do this because of where my life is right now. And I so much appreciate the offer and the interest in my services and the appreciation of my professional services. I really, really am pleased in a big way, but I can't. I'm just not going to do that right now. I don't like saying I can't. I say I'm not going to do that right now. That's not going to happen. Anyway, that's a condensed version of my career, my aerial photography career. And you can still make money at aerial photography, but you're going to have to use a drone. But if any of you are considering it, I would encourage you to go to a local airport, hire a pilot, make sure that the window opens. You don't want to be shooting through any windows because that makes the image blurry and soft. Make sure the window opens. On the 152, they take the connecting rod off of the window, and when it opens, it's like an airfoil, and it just stays open by itself. It was perfect. I mean, especially when I had my license and I didn't have to pay a pilot or depend on a pilot to fly me anymore. That was really cool. You get a drone. Actually, I would go and shoot some targets and see. I would hire an airplane. Unless you already have a drone, then you can look into doing this. But I'd hire an airplane, pick a nice day like today. Construction was just something that I just thought would be a good subject matter for aerial photography. There are companies that only do residences and farms, and there was a guy that wanted me. As a matter of fact, the same time that she called me with this offer, I got a call from a guy that I almost killed 9 years before, 1992, 7 years before. I needed the job so bad that I pressed the envelope of safety and almost killed both of us. Flying low and slow, look out below. I was too low and too slow, and plus I had the stupid nose trimmed up, so I didn't have to think about it, but you should always be thinking about it. Anyway, that's the dealio. And I wouldn't trade those years of doing aerial photography for anything. I really wouldn't. More money. People say, "Oh, you didn't make enough money." Oh, no, I didn't. But you've never soloed in an airplane. You've never flown yourself in an airplane before, so you have no idea what that kind of thrill is like. And most of the people I know didn't want to know. They didn't care about that. But I wanted to fly. It was a kind of following in my father's footsteps, maybe. My God, the sun is bright. Gotta get my shades back on. Maybe. But bottom line, the thrill of flight is its own thrill and its own meaning to whoever likes to do it. I don't understand how or why, with all the heavy twin crashes that, I wouldn't get in a twin now. I'd get in a King Air, but there were some bad King Air accidents last year too. I mean, if you guys heard about any of those, there was one or two of really bad ones down in Texas, crashing on takeoff. You lose, in a heavy twin, you lose an engine on takeoff, you better be on your game, because if not, you're going to be playing a golden harp with wings up in the clouds. You'll be above the ceiling, that's for sure. So if you had any questions about aerial photography, I wish you'd throw them my way, because I'm an expert on the subject. I've done well, and I've had some mess ups, and I can share any of those with you, and be glad to. So happy landings to everybody, and I'm still working on the flat spin research, and I want to pull up more examples especially from heavy twins, big twin engine. Barron's, Navajo, I think is a twin. And why are they? Once you get into a flat spin, why is it so difficult to get out? Because the rotational axis, the mass of the weight that's further to the perimeter of the airplane is heavier or more dense than the mass in the middle of the airplane. So once you get that outside area of the airplane spinning in a flat spin configuration, say your prayers. But I didn't want to leave you on a down note like that. So what can I talk about that's positive about aviation? There isn't much positive to talk about any kind of business right now because everything is tanking out, and it's a damn shame. Boeing is hanging in there. I wouldn't buy their stock though, because one more bad accident, for example, let's say the 787. I'm sure you all know about the 737 MAX accidents, and I kind of blew up at the CEO in my last video about that. But the 787, here's the thing about aviation and a company like Boeing. The 787, with the fire problems that they didn't really anticipate with that lithium-ion battery, and if you ever held your cell phone after it's been on for a while or in your pocket and you can feel it heating up, well, lithium batteries, for whatever reason, they don't know why, they get these runaway heat and fire incidents. And when that happens in an airplane like a 787, it can be an incredible disaster. A company like Boeing risk the existence of their company on an airplane like that. The development and prototype costs in the past had run anywhere from $3 to $5 billion. Like the 777, I think, was $5-6 billion, something like that. 757, 767, the same, $3 to $5 billion. So what do you think the expense was? The expense number was, and development number was for the 787? 30 billion plus. Okay. You just can't reach in your pocket and pick out 30 billion if you're a company like Boeing and throw it at a project, and then if it completely crumbles and fails, it could end the company. That happened to DeHavilland in the early 1950s when they came out with the Comet. What a horrible airplane, man. I mean, the reason there were 2 new planes that crashed within a month or two after they took to the air, and everybody knew there was something wrong after the first one. Does that sound familiar? The MAX, the Comet, the DeHavilland Comet. What a awful design. It turns out it couldn't handle the pressure differential from outside to inside because they had square corners on the windows, and at joints they had like right angles. You can't have any right angles in an airplane like that. That's pressurized. But what really freaked me out when I looked at that airplane was the engines are embedded in the wing. Let me think. I'm a top-notch engineer. My name is Captain Smith or Admiral Kimmel. Captain Smith. I really believe I used that line on somebody the other day, and they said, "Well, who was Captain Smith?" Never mind. The jet engines are embedded inside the wing. I can't imagine why. Because it's nothing but a disaster waiting to happen, even though turbine engines are very reliable, very safe. We have incidents on a semi-regular basis, but those engines explode. The ones that explode nowadays, where it doesn't kill anybody, you don't hear about. You only hear about it when an exploding engine kills somebody. If an engine explodes inside the wing, what do you think is going to happen? That question didn't come up in one of their strategy meetings, I guess. Well, let's see. We're going to put the engines inside the wing. Turbine technology, jet turbine technology was kind of like at its very beginning stages in the early 50s. But okay, so we'll put the engines inside the wing. It looks better. It looks more aerodynamic. Now, they never had trouble with those engines. To my knowledge, there was never an accident that was caused by an exploding engine and the wing falling off. But that would happen eventually, because just Google it, find out how many times there's been engine failures on jets nowadays, and what happened. Did they explode? Did they quit? You got a lot of energy inside that engine. Why would you put it inside the wing? Makes no sense. I'm sorry to go on. I got a problem with the engineers sometimes. That they need glasses on it, really good pair of glasses. Bon voyage, you guys, and I hope you're having a great day. Take care.